Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Stories of Hope. We have an extra special edition this week. We are going to be focused on sleep, and we have our special guest, Denise Norbit, here with us. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So as you can see on the screen, we are talking about the power of sleep, unleashing the benefits of restless nights. And you'll notice the format's going to be a little bit different, but I think you guys are really going to love it. And so let's jump right into it. So first of all, we are in the midst of reviewing the 6 goals for success. You guys might recognize this from the lifestyle guide that you should have gotten a text message or email about. If you didn't, and you haven't had your hands on that lifestyle guide yet, go ahead and reach out to your specialist and they will hook you up with it. But that's what we've been going over, are the 6 goals for success, which are written in the lifestyle guide. So as a little bit of a review, number 1 is take adaptogens, which you've got that covered if you take any of the Soul products. Number 2 is nutrition. Go back and review. Actually, Denise and I did that one as well. And then hydration, we did with Dr. V, and she did an awesome job. Last week was movement with Satinka. This week, we're going to talk about sleep with Denise. And then next week, we're going to talk about gratitude with the other Kristen Alexander, and I'm super excited about that. So, as I said, a little bit of a different format this week. This is going to be Denise's time to chat and share some of her story. So I hope you guys sit back, get your Kleenex, get a notepad, and get ready to hear her story. So go ahead, Denise, take it over.
Okay, thanks, Kristen. So as a little bit of background, we had a whole different presentation prepared, but then I felt a stirring in my heart that it was time for me to share what's been going on in my life for a while now. And because it totally relates to sleep, which is our subject today. So we're kind of wrapping up this series on a lifestyle, and I do have notes because it's kind of emotional and I want to make sure to stay on track. So, I might be looking down, but my heart is with you and I'm looking you in the eye, whether I'm looking at my paper or I'm looking at you. Okay, so we're wrapping up this series on lifestyle, and of course today's subject is sleep. So this one thing, that reason I switched gears is because this area of sleep, of health, I have ignored for most of my life, and it definitely came back to bite me. So I honestly don't think there is a person alive that has not been thrown off center in the last few years. And I feel like a lot of people, including myself, are kind of stopping that reeling from the physical and emotional things that we were going through. And so I have to admit that during that intense chaos of the world, like many people, I was just trying to make sense of everything and trying to survive. So sleep wasn't the only pillar of health that I ignored during these couple of years, even though I didn't throw all my knowledge out the window. I mean, I didn't go start eating McDonald's and Dairy Queen, but I actually like the taste of good food, so that's a plus. But I became an excellent baker. And I baked a lot of healthy treats, that used alternative types of sugar like maple syrup or coconut and gluten-free flour, all the things, right? So they were healthy. Well, not really. I ate the wrong things, and I ate, just bottom line, too much of them. And so, but it was one way I was coping with the instability around me. And since there wasn't much to do, we also went out a lot, because in Texas we could do that pretty early on. And this kind of ties back to the nutrition one that we did. all the restaurants use seed oils like canola oil. And they do it because it's cheap and they have to do that to make a profit. But those oils are so inflammatory. They're usually rancid, they're genetically modified, they're bleached, they're sprayed with Roundup, and there's other toxic chemicals like they're bleached so that they're actually palatable to use after all the stuff they go through. So you can go back and check, like Kristen said, that one we did on nutrition and see some of the reasons that it's just not adequate today. So overeating, under-exercising, the mental and emotional stress of the times, eating foods that weren't giving my body what they needed, and eating too much, and actually decades, I'm embarrassed to say, of not sleeping right. So that set my body up for a huge crash. But one thing I did do for myself, and I've done for a lot of years, and almost 100% of the time, is take my herbs, okay? And I'm really not being melodramatic, that I think if I hadn't done that, I might not be here today. So you see, the adaptogens are not magic pills. They're really amazing combinations that help our body deal with stress. And for a couple of years there, the amount of stress from my lifestyle I was putting on my body and not living how I knew I should to be healthy set the stage for 2022. And when 2022 hit, it was the most stressful year of my life. I had a lot of personal loss in that year, and physical trauma. So we don't need to go into the details on that, but I do want to mention one thing that particularly correlates to sleep deficit I was running for most of my life. I had a precious little senior dog that started showing signs of dementia, and I would actually call it sundowners, where she would get disoriented at night and agitated. And you can guess that that really impacted my already shaky sleep cycle. And she then had a stroke, which made things even worse. Needless to say, I got very little sleep for a while. She actually fought really hard because she still did want to live. However, in about 6 months, her quality of life declined, and it wasn't fair for me to keep her here. So I released her. And of course, that was super devastating. And it really added a lot to my stress bucket. So by that time, my sleep had been so disrupted for so long that I felt like it took me a long time to gain some equilibrium and actually start changing my habits again. And I'll be really honest with you, to this day, the area of rest is the hardest thing I face in my life to live it in a healthy way. But you know what? It's never too late. And as long as there's breath, there's hope. And I am making progress. And I've been consistently getting about at least 7 hours of sleep most nights now, which is a huge improvement for me. Well, when we don't get enough sleep, there are rhythms and processes in our bodies called feedback loops that get dysregulated. And I just want to talk about one of those. It starts with the release of our stress hormone, cortisol. This is our major stress hormone, and it actually is a lifesaver because it's anti-inflammatory and it's a pain reliever, and it keeps us safe when we encounter danger, because it prepares us to run or fight. Have you ever seen like a soldier in battle get shot and he just keeps running? And it's like he doesn't even feel it. Well, he doesn't, because of cortisol. So that's kind of the thing that cortisol does for us. So just like all the pathways in the body, they're beautifully designed to help us survive. The problem happens when, like happened in my life, we encounter prolonged stress. and we get caught in this cortisol loop. The stage has been set, and I had been ignoring the foundational principles of health. So I got stuck in that feedback loop of cortisol. And instead of it coming in to save the day, when we experience stress and danger, it didn't shut off. So while cortisol is designed to save us, it's designed to be short-lived. And if it continues to pour in our system, it starts breaking our bodies down. And you see, to face danger, we need to be on, right? We need our body and our mind to be ready for anything, on high alert. So we actually have physical changes that start in our body, like our blood goes away from our digestion. It goes away from our relaxation part of our nervous system, our reproductive abilities, those kinds of things. They're not required for survival, so they go on the back burner. And eventually we get stuck in what we call a catabolic state. You've probably heard of anabolic steroids. Well, this is a catabolic steroid hormone. And so it starts breaking our body down to give us the energy to live. And that also makes a lot of internal stressors happen in the body because it starts damaging the body. And so it just adds to the stress bucket. So my body was definitely in a state of breakdown from both internal and external stresses. So Kristen, would you go ahead and show the pictures? I have some pictures of the outward sign, and I can't look at those because they're very emotional for me, of what was going on inside my body. It definitely has been a painful lesson for me and very humbling to think that my body would crash so hard. I never thought it would happen to me. If you think about it, what does the medical system use when there's some really bad inflammation, like an asthma attack or a bad rash like this? They use steroids or cortisone, right? So they try to mimic what our body should be doing for us. But when we don't sleep, that rhythm of the HPA axis, this is tied to cortisol too. We've talked about that many times on this show. It gets dysregulated and the inflammation goes crazy because of that outpouring of cortisol. So eventually the body gives up because it has nothing else to give. And that's when we see chronic disease appear. Inflammation in the body and the brain can lead to so many things like anxious thoughts, digestive issues, fatigue, mood swings, blood sugar swings, brain fog, immune issues, slow healing, hormone imbalances, loss of muscle mass. And, I could go on for about the next 20 minutes about all the things that could happen. So sometimes we think of these symptoms in the later stages, the disease process, as the enemy. And we just need to get rid of them, when actually it's a blessing. It's our body's way of sending signals that we need to course correct. It is our body's way of keeping us alive and functioning well. We just need to be open to listening. And as we've been talking about on this show for a while now, lifestyle is the foundation for health. And sleep is a super important component of our lifestyle because it's when our bodies do the majority of the detoxification and repair that we need to thrive. I think we can picture all of this as having two buckets. One is our stress bucket and one is our vital reserve bucket. Think of our stress bucket as on fire, inflammation, right? And our vital reserve bucket as cooling, life-giving water. Our vital reserve is our vital energy. And when we get stuck in a cycle of endless fire in our stress bucket, we can run out of water in our vital reserve bucket because we're trying to put out the fire. Our body is trying to use that. I believe that we are born with vital reserve, and we add to that vital reserve bucket by our lifestyle. And so when our lifestyle is not supplying it, we dip into our innate vital reserve. And so lifestyle is super important for that vital reserve. And if we want to be prepared to face the stressors that will always be part of living, we need to constantly fill our vital reserve bucket. Sleep is a major way we do that. Obviously, I'm no spring chicken. And yet, when I returned to my lifestyle habits that I knew would support my body and my mind, even this body that has so many decades on the earth, I had the potential to heal. And I just needed to give it what it needed to do its job. The body is amazing. Am I there yet? No, but I am recovering. You can see, like, it looks a lot better, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm recovering and I'm doing all the things I know to heal. And am I doing it perfectly? No, but I am heading in the right direction and I'm making progress. So I'm very, very thankful that I have the soul adaptogens to help me and to regulate that cortisol and that HPA axis that we've talked about so many times and regain my rhythms that are essential for vibrant health. I'm grateful to be healing. And I would like to share some sleep hygiene tips that I've been implementing in my own life. And maybe it'll help you too if you struggle in this area, or if you're struggling with inflammatory health issues. And or you just want to be smarter than I was and kind of avoid the consequences of inadequate sleep, maybe this will help you. Okay. So number one, sleep in a dark room. It's super important for our hormones to sleep in a dark room, and sleep in a cool room. About 70 degrees or cooler is about right for that. Turn your router off at night to help with the electromagnetic fields. Take electronics out of your bedroom. Your bedroom should be a sanctuary. It's for sleep and intimacy. It's not for entertainment. And that will definitely impact your sleep. Shoot for getting in bed by 10 or 11 at the latest and get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. So there are a lot of other things that we can do regarding, I mean, you could get blue blocker. Oh, I forgot to say, turn off your screens an hour before you go to bed. Get blue blockers for night. You can do that even if you don't wear glasses. So anyway, there are a lot of things in all the areas, the fundamentals of lifestyle that we can do to improve our health. And I hope that my story, I know there's a reason that I had to tell it. I know there's a reason I went through it. And I hope that this gives you hope if you're struggling with things that you don't know the answers to. I'll just say there is hope. There are answers. You just gotta, help your body out a little, and your body knows what to do. So thanks so much, Kristen.
Ooh, a little teary-eyed myself there. Hold on, let me fix that. Thank you, Denise, for sharing. And, when we were talking beforehand about this, you had mentioned that this is so basic, but so life-changing, right? And sleep is one of those foundational things that you have to take seriously. And so thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing your story. And I know this was a big part of your healing, and being your friend, no, I'm gonna cry. Being your friend and seeing you walk through this has been inspiring. So all of you, sorry for the tears, but this has been a journey for Denise, and I know this is a really big deal for her, and I'm really proud of her. So
Thank you.
okay, let's go on. uh so oh, all right. As Denise did, we are always looking for people who are willing to share their stories, whether that be in the Facebook group or on a presentation like this. Please reach out to one of us. Please reach out to whomever added you to the group. As you can see, these stories are inspirational, and there is no story that is too big or too small to change someone's life. And so if you have a story, which all of us have a story, please don't hesitate to share. And then we just want to make sure that you are connected and that you feel loved and supported. So we have two ways. The number one, the one that you see on your left, is our soul community. That is the One Soul group that is on Facebook and is on YouTube. We have various events that we want to let you know about. All you have to do is text the word events to this phone number on the left. And then the one on the right is actually Soul Corporate. Same thing. We want to let you know about promotions and sales and cool things that are coming out. Like I mentioned, the lifestyle guide at the beginning of this webinar. Same word, text the word events. It's just a different, whoop, that's my puppy. That's just a different phone number. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Denise, for sharing your story. And we are wishing you guys an amazing week, and we will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.